Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Today, I want to talk to you about this idea of getting present before you speak. And I want to say that this is a technique that I teach my clients and I use for how to handle fear and anxiety, lack of confidence, insecurity, imposter syndrome, all of that. It also does quite a few other things, but this can really help you handle your public speaking fear and anxiety. So, what do I mean when I say get present before you speak? Well, I literally mean that you take a pause, you take a deep breath, maybe even 3 deep breaths. You make eye contact with whomever you're speaking to. You smile, you exhale, you take another deep breath, and then you begin speaking. So, the reason I say this is because so many people, when they are terrified, when they're experiencing fear and anxiety, when their heart starts racing, they instinctively jump into speaking. It's like they're already rolling down the hill and they just want to jump on the wagon and just keep going and just feel entirely out of control. Well, they don't want to feel that way, but that's what happens. So our instinct is to feel nerves and then just jump in and try to get through it, right? Just grin and bear it, just get through it, just get to the end of my sentence, just get to the end of my story, get to the end of my presentation, whatever it is. The quicker I get through it, the less pain I'm going to experience. Well, the problem with that is that that induces fear and anxiety. That also creates a memory of you being anxious, fearful, and also out of your body, not being able to deliver the way that you want to deliver, that you know you have the capacity to deliver. And so it's a vicious cycle. It's never ending until you stop it, you change, you do something different, you interrupt this pattern that has been set in your body and in your life. So the way that you interrupt this pattern is you take a moment to get present before you speak. Now, let me give you a few examples as to where and how and when you can get present before you speak. So let's say that somebody asks you a question in a meeting and you don't know the answer to that question. And so you start to feel some nerves, maybe a little bit warm, sweaty, palpitating heart, whatever that word is, heart palpitations, right? Um, and and then you feel the instinct to just speak, to just start saying something, hoping that you'll come up with an answer that's valuable at some point. Stop. Don't do that next time. Next time somebody asks you a question, take a moment, even though it might feel challenging, long, kind of like an extreme reaction. It might feel so counter the grain, the flow of the conversation, your instinct. That's okay. I guarantee you, nobody else is thinking about you pausing besides you. So take a moment, take a deep breath, make eye contact with the person who's speaking to you or asked you that question. Maybe make eye contact with somebody else in the room. Take another deep breath, exhale. Come back to the person who asks you that question and speak. Give them an answer. You will notice that during that 1.5 to 3 seconds, your heart rate will have skyrocketed and then come back down. You will have lost your executive functioning and then regained your executive functioning. Here's another example as to when you can get present before you speak. You're coming up to a podium. You are there to give a lecture, a talk, a brown bag lunch conversation, a keynote talk. Most people, when they stand up to the microphone or in front of the audience or in front of the room, in front of the boardroom or behind the podium, they look at people, get terrified, and just tumble right into their information and usually gain their confidence, their ease somewhere in the middle to the beginning to middle part of the presentation. That might feel pretty familiar to most of you. Don't let that happen, because you miss the valuable first 5 minutes when you make a connection with your audience. Those first 5 minutes is when people are forming opinions about you, determining your credibility, deciding whether or not they like you. And so these first 5 minutes are really valuable. Don't lose them. You're also setting the foundation with your content for the rest of your talk. If people don't understand what the context is, how are they going to understand your message or the news that you want to share, the new thing? So it's going to feel counterintuitive, but get up on that stage, get up in front of the room, take a couple deep breaths while you're making eye contact with a couple of the audience members. Remember to exhale your air, smile, inhale, and begin. When you do this, you're starting from a place of presence, being in the present moment. A couple special things about being in the present moment. When you are in the present moment, you are able to react. Can you imagine not being in the present moment and seeing a car kind of like swerve into your lane? Like you gotta be in the present moment in order to react to that car in a relevant, successful way, right? You can't be somewhere else. You can't be in the past or in the future. You have to be in the present moment in order to pivot. So let's say your audience isn't feeling very engaged with you. You got to get in the present moment and say, what can I say? What can I do right now in order to get my audience back on board? The most effective communicators are in the present moment to the best of their ability, right? We're always going to kind of shoot out for a second, but then we got to come back and be present with our audience. That's why improv training is so beneficial to anyone, because you have to be in the present moment in order to improvise, in order to react. The second thing that's really powerful about being in the present moment is, what is the second thing that's really powerful about being in the present moment? Well, I'll say that when we're present, we actually experience the satisfaction of a job well done, right? So we don't go away and say, God, I don't even know how that presentation went. We're actually able to be with ourselves moment by moment, with our audience moment by moment, and receive energy from them, receive admiration and acknowledgement from them, witness ourself, knowing our information, delivering value, being funny, enjoying ourselves. So we're really able to feel satisfaction, like we have arrived when we allow ourselves to be in the present moment. Another little perk of doing this pause and get in the present moment before you speak, whether you're interjecting at a meeting or delivering a presentation or answering a question, getting in the present moment forces you to pause. And you probably know this just from experience, but research shows that people who know how to pause and use a pregnant pause communicate more credibility, more authority. They communicate themselves as thoughtful, knowledgeable, intelligent, calm, confident, right? People who know how to pause ultimately communicate gravitas. So, in that little moment when you're getting present and you're secretly feeling a lot of nerves and anxiety, you're actually communicating confidence and authority. So you get a bonus there for doing this technique. I hope this felt helpful to you. Getting present before you speak is the key to maintaining or becoming self-aware while you communicate. Self-awareness is the first step to changing your relationship with public speaking and your communication style. So I often think of this as like the brakes. Being able to get present, pause before you begin speaking is you flexing your muscle, your ability to put on the brakes, and that gives you the possibility of actually making a different choice, and therefore changing your communication style and your relationship to public speaking. So this is huge. Try it out. Give yourself that pause. Give yourself that moment of breathing. It will feel awkward at the beginning, but I guarantee you, the more you do it, the more it will feel natural. And then ultimately, it will be like a relief when you get into that moment, because you know exactly why you're taking that moment and what it's going to give you, and how positively it communicates to other people. So I hope this helps. Try it out. Let me know in the comments below if you are able to try this technique and what you notice. As always, thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.